Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something for the very first time. No, I don't just mean reviewing Stella Artois Unfiltered, Artois, Artois, however you want to pronounce it. This, I think, is the first proper review of a mass-produced macro lager on this channel, which, yeah, it's just, well, it's a first. I wasn't going to bother, and then, well, colour me intrigued. I was in the supermarket yesterday and I just wanted to know, well, can it be any good? To be honest, I've never been a big fan of the traditional original Stella, especially since it's been brewed in the UK at a paltry 4.6%, I think it is now. This is coming in hot at 5%, although unfortunately it is still brewed in the UK. More on that in a minute. So yeah, let's find out. Is this any good? This is a bigger bottle than normal. I can't say the word bottle today. Bottle. It is a whopping, I'm going to assume, yeah, 660 ml. This was one of the This was on one of those supermarket bulk buy things for the larger bottles of lagers. Like I think it was buy 4 for the price of 3 or something. So I've not got much lager in except for some homebrew that I'm conditioning. So yeah, I bought 4 and just, well, I'm going to hope for the best really. So before we crack into it, here is a quick look at this slightly enlarged version. All green labelling rather than the traditional. I think it's red and gold. It's kind of green and gold. It looks nice enough. In the bottle, I don't know if you can tell, it is immediately, I'll hold it back a bit, I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but certainly to look at in person, it's hazy. In the bottle it's hazy, so I'm not sure what the marketing ploy is on this. I mean, let's be honest, it's AB InBev, there's going to be a marketing ploy, but apparently they think the general public are ready for some unfiltered lager. What is interesting though, is that this is fully hazy and, well, I've brewed my own lager, arguably not proper lager, but you know what I mean. I've brewed my own beer a bit now, and, well, mine doesn't look like that after it's been sat out, so, well, why does theirs? Anyway, let's get into it. Not a bad pour. These 660ml bottles really got to consider them to be kind of a pint and a bit, a pint and a third or something. Other than this glass not being perfectly clean, which is slightly annoying, it does actually look pretty good. It looks slightly darker on camera than it does in real life. It's got a proper kind of golden, deep straw colour quality to it. Very bubbly white head, as you'd imagine. Loads of carbonation. I mean, everything we'd expect, but yeah, just a bit more haze than your standard generic lager. So aromas, nicely surprising. Normal Stella to me gives off a bit of an aroma that's a bit headachy, a little bit clinical, a little bit chemical forward. This smells fresh. It smells bit malty, bit grassy. I'll be honest, it smells like a proper Pilsner. So yeah, looking forward to this. It should be good. It should be good. It has promise. Right, let's get into it. Cheers. Oh, wow. Okay. Where it lacks on being like Stella on the aroma, makes up for in the taste. Stella always has this weird upfront big smashing hit thing it's almost like an imposter for flavour. It has a hit, a smash that makes it not especially easy drinking, but at the same time there's nothing that comes along with it. It's I don't really know how they do it, if I'm honest. It's not alcohol, it's not hop, it's not bitterness, there's a forceful thud that the original Stella has when you first take a sip, and this has it, but maybe dialed back. This maybe 75–80% of that thud, whatever the hell that is, that the original has. This, yeah, interesting. Interesting. I'm trying to decide if I like it or not, if I'm honest. I don't hate it, that's for sure. I don't hate it, but that slightly offensive upfront smack I've been talking about, it's weird. For me, it kind of concentrates itself at the kind of the roof of the mouth and in the kind of nasal passage and the kind of olfactory senses. It's just kind of oof when you take it in. I don't really know how or why. I assume it's a combination of the amount of carbonation and the combination of the carbonation. That's a tongue twister. And that sort of thing. But once you get over that, there's a slightly sweet, decent amount of malt profile in there. It's not strong. It's not as strong as I want it to be for a proper craft lager, or indeed a proper just German Bavarian lager pilsner. But there's something to it, more so than most generic supermarket big brand lagers. And there is some kind of interesting hop thing going on, but it's not quite sure what it is. Well, it's incredibly bitter without a lot of the flavour, if I'm honest. It's not overly bitter, but it has got a sharpness that I think maybe is just a little bit more than it needed to be. I'm waffling a lot here. Let's empty the rest of the bottle into the glass. The interesting thing is it doesn't get any more hazy as you get towards the end like you would in a traditional kind of craft or a lower volume production beer. It just stays the same all the way through. So I'm a bit confused as to how they've done it. Hopefully the ingredients will give something away. But yeah, I mean, it's a bit cloudy, but not really. It's trying to be, I guess, a bit, well, craft. And the flavour now, to be honest, is becoming a little bit average. I have to say, it has some character, which I think is why a lot of people like Stella. It does have a little bit more robustness about it. But if I'm honest, I'm not sure it's character that necessarily wanted characterising, if that makes any sense. So quick top to bottom taste test. So initially, slightly bitter, loads of carbonation up front. Then you get that weird nasally thing that I was talking about before. It just kind of takes over all of your senses, but with no real flavour. It's just kind of an inhibitor to anything else. It's almost numbing, which might be its best friend, if I'm honest, because then you end up with something with not a lot of flavour, if I'm honest. Middle of the palate, it's really just a refreshing liquid, which I guess is what it's designed for, but there's really nothing to talk of. The mouthfeel is okay. It's not as thin as some, is all I can really tell you. You get a splash, and you get quite a sharp bitterness. I'll be honest, it's not the most enjoyable, and then it tails off, and you start to get a little bit of that malt character, a little bit of green grassy hop note. But I mean, it's a bit like, I'll be honest, a wine enthusiast trying to take tasting notes out of a bottle of Lambrini. You can do it, but it doesn't really give the full picture. And the full picture here is, this is probably better, in my opinion, than the original Stella. Certainly the Stella available in the UK. Probably not the original one in Belgium, but you know what I mean. However, it's nowhere near an unfiltered craft lager. It doesn't even begin to touch it. And to be honest, I'm quite critical of UK craft lagers. Most of them really don't do it for me, but no, most of them are better than this. So, well, let's take a look at this rather large bottle. On the front then it says Anno 1366, which I assume means since. Stella Artois, Belgium, unfiltered premium lager beer. In case you were unsure what any of those words meant. I told you that stuff really gets up your nose. On the top of the label, it also says Stella Artois Premium Lager Beer, but above it says La Bière Non Filtered Deluxe, which is quasi-French, I think, for unfiltered deluxe beer. Why would unfiltered beer be better? In theory, you're just going through an extra stage to improve it. So, anyway, Stella Artois Premium Lager Beer, 75% recycled glass. Well, that's quite impressive. At least they're doing something to help. We don't want to look at the calories per... Oh, go on then. 41 calories per 100 ml. That's 270 calories for this whole thing. Brewed in the UK, AB InBev UK Limited, unsurprisingly. And then there's a postcode of EC4A1EN. Two things I've learned from that. One is, I had no idea it was possible to have a UK postcode that went letter, letter, number, letter, number, letter, letter. But apparently you can in London because they've got too many postcodes. And if we look up that address, as you'll see on the screen now, it doesn't say anything about Stella, but it is apparently where they brew some Budweiser. So yeah, that should be a bit of a giveaway. And it's 5%. The ingredients are water, barley malt, maize, hops, and yeast, brackets extract. So that's the order it says. It says water, barley malt, maize. The maize explains the haze, which is a bad rhyme. hops, yeast, brackets, extract. I would have thought the hops were hop extract, given the overly bitter and not overly hoppy nature of the beer. But yeast extract, that's Marmite, which is confusing me a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. If you're stuck and it's between that and the regular Stella, Foster's, Carlsberg, Carling, yeah, sure, it's a bit better, but don't get too excited, is all I really have to say. And that is literally all I have to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.